Now on CoastTV News.
Development debate deepens. Why the Cape Henlopen School District is pushing back on plans for a large shopping and apartment complex in Lewis.
Salary scrutiny, we look at some of the biggest increases occurring in Ocean City's budget plans.
Expansion cost concerns. The reason there could be a potential delay for upgrades at Delaware's Capitol building.
A warm front lifting through Delmarva today brings summer-like warmth. A bit cooler for Friday with increasing shower chances. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up.
This is CoastTV News Today.
We're continuing with our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025.
It was last hour that Bob said today we should get more than mild conditions.
And our remarks to Bob have been pretty mild because
Oh, you're going to go there. I was going to pull my punches on that. Go, have at it.
Our Cleveland Cavaliers beat Bob's New York Knicks, so yeah. I'm sorry, Bob. We'll only mention it once. We'll keep it mild like the weather. We won't mention it too many times. We're happy about the weather. That's a collective good thing.
I was in such a good mood until you mentioned that, and I know your Cleveland Cavaliers are doing very well lately, winning a lot of games. We're really warming up. Look at this. We were in the 30s yesterday morning. Now we're in the 60s. So about 25 to 30 degrees warmer now than yesterday at this time. 63 in Georgetown and Milton. Salisbury, 64. You were scraping frost yesterday morning. 61 in Bethany Beach. Rehoboth, 62. And those winds gusting over 20 miles per hour in Georgetown, Bethany Beach, and Indian River Inlet. They'll be gusty pretty much all day long as we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, nothing in the way of any kind of showers. We are watching a warm front lifting to the north. The heavier weather is back to our west with showers and storms from Pittsburgh back into the Ohio Valley. They had severe weather farther to the west last night, but that line is weakening, and that will stay to our northwest today as we're looking at conditions continuing to rapidly warm up through the morning hours. In fact, by noon, we're into the 70s away from the coast, but cooler at the beaches. You'll be in the 60s and 70s, but maybe 80 in Lewis, and then around 80 into Millsboro with gusty conditions and very mild conditions as we go into the evening hours. I did give it the yellow light for the morning and evening commutes because we're looking at breezy conditions this morning, becoming windy this afternoon. So make sure 2 hands on the wheels and drive with caution and enjoy the warm weather.
Thank you, Bob. Our top story this hour, crews in Indiana responding to severe damage caused by Wednesday night storms. A woman had to be rescued from a building that collapsed in Brownsburg. And we got information just a few hours ago that emergency crews confirming that she was awake and alert and was taken to an area hospital. This morning, flood watches and wind advisories remain in effect for many central Indiana counties. This just in, we are assessing the pushback by the Cape Henlopen School District over the proposed apartment and shopping center off of Route 24 in Lewis. A response from Cape's Director of Operations, Jason Hale, was reviewed as part of a public hearing on the Bellmead Farms LLC plans. With 2 schools located less than a half mile from the planned site of this complex, the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission, they wanted to get some feedback from Cape. The Bellmead plans call for 480 rental units and 125,000 square feet of retail space.
And here's what Hale wrote. We respectfully recommend that no additional residential development be approved until a school construction impact fee can be implemented to allow the district to plan for and accommodate growth. Hale would further state that Cape is challenged to meet the demands of a growing student population with limited resources. The public comment period on the Bellmead plan is open for 10 business days.
New this morning, work will continue by the Ocean City Council on its budget for the next fiscal year. And this afternoon, several departments are scheduled to present their proposals. According to the documents issued in advance of the meeting, the Recreation Division is seeking an increase of over $150,000 from the current budget. It's over $158,000 for the Parks Division. And in both cases, we're seeing the 2 biggest jumps in expenses occurring with salary and benefits. Ocean City's new budget, that must be finalized by July 1st.
And budget talks have been ongoing all throughout Ocean City this week. We are also covering the town's effort to jumpstart its bus service. According to the Transportation Committee, fewer people have been taking the bus. Reasons being cited are the lack of bus drivers and longer wait times, which is why the Ocean City Council plans to give an extra $1.5 million to the Transportation Committee, with some of that money being used to hire more bus drivers. And according to the town manager, options include offering signing bonuses and providing additional pay during concert events to attract more staff.
Tonight in Lewis, work requests on 3 properties will be reviewed by the city's Historic Preservation Architectural Commission. There's an application for an addition on East 3rd Street, construction on Franklin Avenue, and then there's several projects for St. Peter's Episcopal Church on Mulberry Street. Tonight's meeting is at 6 at the Rollins Center.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. Members of Congress are contemplating their next moves after President Trump announced his tariff plans. And starting today, those plans call for 25% tariffs on vehicles shipped to the United States.
Also, duties on parts, they're set to begin by May 3rd. And as Amy Kiley shows us, she shows us how all this could affect average Americans.
President Donald Trump is imposing a 10% tariff on imports from all countries, plus higher rates for Cambodia, Vietnam, China, the European Union, and more. Here are 5 ways experts say Americans might feel the impact. 1, higher prices.
It's thousands of dollars. We're talking at least 2% of the median household income that this will cost American households.
Most economists predict U.S. businesses that pay the tariffs will pass on some or all of the costs to consumers. The Trump administration downplays that.
The businesses don't have to pass them on, or the producers in the other countries can eat the tariffs.
2, an economic slowdown.
What you're seeing here is a potential haircut to GDP for 2025 of about 3%.
J.P. Morgan predicts a global recession if Trump maintains his tariffs. Economists say a 1930 trade war deepened the Great Depression.
We know what happened in 1929, 1930 in the crash.
Trump supporters note other countries don't have to retaliate.
They're going to bring their tariffs down because they need the U.S. to be active trading partners.
3, blows to retirement funds if the stock market doesn't fully rebound. 4, high interest rates if the Federal Reserve sees too much inflation. And 5, growth for some domestic manufacturers. Economists say they're the biggest winners under Trump's tariffs.
We have to save the people in the industries of the United States.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And last night, 4 Republican senators joined all 47 Democrats in passing a measure blocking President Trump's tariffs on Canadian products.
A big expansion for Delaware's Legislative Hall in Dover now has an uncertain future. On Wednesday, the Democratic caucus released a joint statement calling for the more than $100 million project to be put on hold due to rising costs and uncertainty from Washington. There is one part of the expansion that is moving forward. That's the $33 million 3-story parking garage for lawmakers and staff. The money to pay for it was allocated in last year's bond bill, and according to city officials in Dover, before it can begin the permitting process, the project's designers need to submit a final site plan.
Happening today, Milford area state senators will partner with the Food Bank of Delaware for a donation drive. Organizers say this is in response to federal cuts of the nation's food bank supplies. The Food Bank of Delaware says the cuts will cancel the delivery of 750,000 pounds of food between April and July, which equates to about 900,000 meals. More than half the food the organization distributed in February came from the USDA's Emergency Food Assistance Program. People can drop off items from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Milford location on Delaware Veterans Boulevard.
And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, dangerous weather. While we're experiencing a typical, maybe a mild spring day, it's not the case in other parts of the U.S.
Also, Wait for War memorial improvements, why Ellendale officials are putting a pause on the project.
And work and recovery, how one group has provided support to those struggling with addiction. Coast TV News Today is back after this.
Imagine being at the lowest point in your life and having nowhere to go. In this week's Coastal Connections, Brendan Conroy shows us how one man has made it his mission to be the light in people's darkest moments.
Brianna Watkins is vacuuming. This house means a lot to her. It's a recovery home.
I had an addiction to crack cocaine for the longest time.
Brianna is one of the people helped by Christian Grace LLC. The Georgetown organization offers sober living and affordable supportive housing.
I called my mom and I said, look, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have nothing. I have no clothes. I have no vehicle. I have nothing. I don't even have a phone. Like, I was using somebody else's phone.
David Foreman, president of Christian Grace, says he was once an addict himself. He now dedicates his life to making sure others are provided the same help as he once had, including offering work when they need it.
We're giving people a great price because we don't have the crazy overhead. I'm keeping my people working a little bit, and so they're getting paid a fair wage, and whatever's left over defrays the costs of the extra energy and other things that are going on here.
Christian Grace has 4 homes, all in the Georgetown area. One even has a Zen garden. One special thing David told me about helping people in recovery is that whether it's on the job or in their personal lives, it can have a generational effect. They might struggle with addiction through generations, but helping them can help future generations. The future generation is top of mind for Eric Doring, who says he's staying sober for his daughter, Riley.
I love her more than anything in this world. Every day is a struggle for me. I fight demons every single day. It's part of life, man. But having people like David to give me the opportunity to have a chance back at life. I don't know where I would be without being in recovery or a sober living house, because I can't do it on my own.
Helping people recover through work and their personal life. One step at a time.
There's a lot of reward in that.
For this week's Coastal Connections in Sussex County, Brendan Conroy, Coast TV News.
Time is 6:15, and you are looking live near the banks of the Chop Tank in Cambridge. Great shot there. One of my favorite cameras, Bob. Follow me on this. A little bath here. Monday in Milton, it was 80 degrees. Tuesday in the 50s. 30 degrees difference there, and according to me, we're on the upswing again.
Yeah, it's the temperature roller coaster, Matt, and I tell you what, we are much warmer this morning than we were yesterday at this time. We were scraping frost in Salisbury with temperatures in the 30s. Now you're in the 60s, 30 degrees warmer this morning than yesterday morning, 26 degrees warmer in Georgetown and 22 in Cambridge and Easton. 64 in Salisbury. I just checked my weather station in Millsboro is 64 there, and the same for Seaford. Even at the beach is pretty mild, 62 in Rehoboth and Bethany Beach at 61. As the southerly winds are gusty, we're seeing a warm front lifting through, and that's why temperatures are dramatically warming up, gusting to 28 right now at Indian River Inlet and 24 in Georgetown. And we'll be seeing those gusty winds all day. We are seeing an increase in clouds, nothing in the way of rain or storms across Delmarva. That's well to the west as we're watching a warm front lifting through, and you can definitely feel the effects of that stepping outside. We are seeing showers across Pennsylvania stretching into the Ohio Valley along the front, but they're beginning to weaken as they move to the south and east. And this will stay to our north and west as we go through the day. And we see those showers stretching back into the Memphis, Tennessee area. They had a lot of severe weather last night across the Midwest with tornadoes, and now they're looking at flooding conditions across the Tennessee Valley as we go through the day and night. But not for us. We're looking at a warm-up, big-time warm-up, already warming through the 60s this morning with gusty winds. By noon on Futurecast, we're into the 70s, well into the 70s inland areas, 60s at the coast. We keep it dry, and then by 3:30, it's warm. 80 in Millsboro, 81 in Lewis, 80 in Selbyville and Salisbury too, and it's going to be windy with 60s and 70s at the beaches. Maybe some places not getting out of the 50s around Ocean City, but very mild inland areas. And we keep it mild through the overnight into your Friday morning with temperatures only into the low to mid 60s. There is a front dropping to the south as we go into Friday morning. There is an outside chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. Otherwise, I think the rest of our Friday is dry, a little cooler with mid 70s inland, 50s and 60s at the coast. And then as we go into your Friday evening, I think we're in good shape. We're going to keep it dry. And then Saturday morning, watch out for some showers and storms, maybe between about 5 and 8 a.m. And then things dry out for the rest of your Saturday. Cool along the coast, but some inland areas into the upper 70s, a big temperature gradient there. Severe weather threat tonight into Friday morning is marginal. Maybe some gusty winds with some weakening storms, but right now that chance is looking low. The big story of those gusty winds this afternoon, 35 to maybe 40 miles per hour, and still gusty winds into tomorrow morning, and then shifting winds off the ocean Friday does cool us down. And then we are watching for showers and some heavier thunderstorms later Sunday into Monday. Maybe some heavy rain with that. We'll be watching that for sure. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, up and down temperatures, 79 today, and then we are watching for a chance of some morning showers and storms Friday, otherwise dry, 71. A few more showers Saturday morning, 73, up to 79 Sunday. Late day and evening showers linger into early Monday, and then a big cool down into the 50s for highs through Wednesday. And by Wednesday morning, I think we're looking at a frost and freeze with temperatures in the lower 30s.
On Wednesday, a powerful storm system generated several tornadoes across Arkansas. Cell phone video captured a massive tornado sweeping across the landscape near Lunsford. It's unclear the extent of the damage there, and it was a part of a tense night in the Midwest. Dozens of tornado warnings were in effect from Texas to Ohio, and thousands are without power across Arkansas.
Happening today in Ocean City, we could learn more about Seaside Christian Academy's construction proposal. This afternoon, the Worcester County Planning Commission will look at the plans for an athletic center that is 29,000 square feet. According to the school, the estimated cost of the project is $5 million, and they hope to break ground this summer.
Coming up after the break, patriotic plans paused as Ellendale considers upgrades for its war memorial. Coast TV News Today will be right back.
Developing news in Ellendale, where improvements for the town's war memorial are on hold. Last night, the town council did review improvement options. 3 groups actually gave their respective visions of this project, including more plants circling the memorial site on Macaulay Avenue, also adding additional poles to fit several flags, even a shrub shaped like an eagle. Town officials say they want to hold a special meeting about the project before going forward.
In Ocean City, Spring Fest will return in 2025. The 34th annual event takes place April 24th through the 27th in the Indian Inlet lot. You can enjoy live music, crafts, food, workshops, a sunrise yoga class on the beach, and you can celebrate the 150th anniversary of Ocean City. There will be an anniversary floral garden.
I don't know how many flowers we're going to see in this next piece of video because the calendar says it's April. People in Minnesota are seriously doubting that. Check this out. A snowstorm hit parts of the Duluth area. 1 to 4 inches of snow was expected through most of the area Wednesday night. Wind gusts near 40 miles per hour. And get this, the storm will be done by this morning, but more chances of snow are expected over the next few days.
So, Matt, I have a rule. If it's nice outside after work, if it's warm, you don't need to be productive, no chores.
No chores.
No adult responsibilities. Just need to be outside and enjoy.
I tried this a couple of times in
Really?
college.
Oh, okay.
It did not end well, Elisa.
Oh, okay. Now, what if you tried it now with your wife? You're like, I can't do chores. It's nice outside.
I will try that.
Okay.
And I'll report back to you on that.
Bob, what do you think about it?
Well, I know if it's nice outside, my wife's like, maybe you can go cut the grass.
Yeah,
and do some yard
that's how it goes.
Enjoy the great outdoors. Yeah. But I really miss that snow, guys. I really wish we had that snow back like Duluth had. No, just kidding. Yeah, they don't see spring up there probably for another couple of months. But for us at the beaches, it's a small craft advisory for gusty winds, Delaware Bay through the Atlantic Ocean and the inland bays. It's going to be choppy out there, winds gusting over 30 miles per hour. Lots of clouds in Chincoteague and Assateague. I think you're in the mid-60s. Chincoteague, a little cooler for Assateague, and those waves around 2 to 4 feet. In Fenwick Island and Ocean City, I think you're warming into the mid-60s. It's going to feel cooler with that wind, though. And on the bay side, the next 3 days, close to 80 in Cambridge, and then that shower chance Friday and into Saturday as well, but still nice with 70s and a little cooler for Crisfield the next 3 days, lower 70s, windy today. And there is that shower chance Friday into the weekend. And I think we will be looking at some rain chances. Will not be a washout by any means for your weekend. Much more on that coming up in my forecast in the next half hour.
And after the break, food drive after dollar cuts. We look at the effort by Delaware lawmakers after the food bank predicted it is about to be losing millions of dollars in meals.
Also, apartment at odds. Why the Cape Henlopen School District is not on board for the proposed shopping and apartment complex in Lewis.
And expansion plans in doubt. Why some members of the Delaware General Assembly are pushing to halt a big project at Legislative Hall. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Now on Coast TV News.
Expansion cost concerns, the reason there could be a potential delay for upgrades at Delaware's Capitol building.
Development debate deepens. Why the Cape Henlopen School District is pushing back on plans for a large shopping and apartment complex in Lewis.
Food funding fallout, the effort underway in Delaware, taking place in Milford tonight in the wake of federal cuts to food banks.
A warm front lifting through Delmarva today brings summer-like warmth. A bit cooler for Friday with increasing shower chances. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
April 3rd, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 6:28 as we make our way. What is shaping up to be a warm third? I was going to go with spectacular, then Bob reminded me it's going to be a little breezy, too.
I mean, it's still going to be warm. You're going to pull out the beach chair in your front lawn, tan a little bit.
That could be a sight for some folks.
Yeah,
I might get a message from the HOA on that one.
Oh, well, Bob, it's a good day just to be outside, whether you're tanning like Matt or not.
That's right. And I would define spectacular as blue skies, light winds, 82 degrees. We're not going to see that. We're going to see lots of clouds and windy, but it will be warm today. And already look at these temperatures, 64 in Salisbury and Milton, 63 in Georgetown. Just checked Millsboro, 64 there, 63 in Rehoboth. So it's about 25 to 30 degrees warmer this morning than yesterday morning at this time. Pretty spectacular, pretty amazing. We're looking at those winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour at the beaches. Millsboro, you're gusting to 28, so it's going to be a windy day. We're looking at increasing clouds. We're not looking at any rain or storms. That's back to our west. We're watching a warm front lifting through right now. As we speak, moving through Sussex County, we can feel that warm air. We have the storminess back across areas of western PA and into the Ohio Valley. That'll be staying to our northwest today. They had a lot of severe weather across the Midwest last night. We're just going to keep it dry, windy, and warm. Here's Futurecast warming us quickly through the 60s. By noon, we're into the mid-70s around Millsboro and Salisbury. And look at these gold color arrows indicating strong winds. So keep that in mind. Secure those outdoor items. Upper 70s, lower 80s away from the coast later today. Cooler at the beaches and very mild into this evening. If you're running, run to the north because those winds will be strong out of the south. But aside from that, good running weather. We're looking at lots of clouds. It does stay dry with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. And once again, near 80 away from the coast later on.
Thank you, Bob. Our top story this morning, a major expansion project for Delaware's Legislative Hall in Dover now has an uncertain future. On Wednesday, the Democratic caucus released a joint statement calling for the more than $100 million expansion to be put on hold due to rising costs and uncertainty from Washington. However, the $33 million three-story parking garage for lawmakers and staff is still moving forward since that money was allocated in last year's bond bill. As the bond committee reviews the next fiscal year budget, lawmakers question whether these projects are the best use of state funds.
We can't just take taxpayers' money and say, that would be nice, we should have that now. We really have to budget for it, we really have to save for it, and we've got to think the same way a family or a small business does.
And the city of Dover tells us that before it can begin the permitting process, the project's designer needs to submit a final site plan.
Happening today, work will continue by the Ocean City Council on its budget for the next fiscal year. This afternoon, several departments are actually scheduled to present their proposals. According to the documents issued in advance of the meeting, the Recreation Division is seeking an increase of over $150,000 from the current budget, $158,000 over the current budget for the Parks Division, and in both cases, we're seeing the two biggest jumps in expenses occurring with salary and benefits. Ocean City's new budget must be finalized by July 1st.
New this morning, the Delaware Bicycle Council met Wednesday to discuss progress and funding for some transportation projects. Officials say the Georgetown to Lewis Bike Trail project is moving forward, with construction from Fisher Road to Airport Road set to begin in June 2025. That project is expected to be complete by July 2026, finishing the full trail connection between Georgetown and Lewis.
Delaware Governor Matt Meyer has announced judicial nominations for New Castle County. So let's take a look at those. There's the nomination for Judge of the Court of Common Pleas, Megan O'Reilly Karisic for Family Court Commissioner, the Honorable Paul Wallace and Honorable Lynn Parker for reappointment to the Superior Court. All these nominations that we are showing you here still need Senate approval.
Developing news in Lewis, pushback from the Cape Henlopen School District over the proposed apartment and shopping center off of Route 24 in Lewis. A response from Cape's Director of Operations, Jason Hale, was reviewed as a part of a public hearing at last night's public hearing on the Bellmead Farm LLC's plans. With two schools located less than half a mile from the planned site of this complex, the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission wanted the feedback from Cape. The Bellmead plans call for 480 rental units and 125,000 square feet of retail space.
We looked at a copy of the letter, and here is what Hale wrote. We respectfully recommend that no additional residential development be approved until a school construction impact fee can be implemented to allow the district to plan for and accommodate growth. Hale would further state that Cape is challenged to meet the demands of a growing student population with limited resources. The public comment period on the Bellmead plans is open for 10 business days.
Happening today, the Food Bank of Delaware branch in Milford will be organizing a donation drive. This comes during budget cuts to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which has led to the delivery of 19 truckloads of food for the food bank being canceled. That amount is equal to around 900,000 meals. The food bank is calling upon the community to donate and help those facing food insecurity.
Our most needed items all the time are still needed now. So things like spaghetti and spaghetti sauce, cereal, peanut butter, canned meats like canned chicken or tuna fish, things like that are always things that are much needed all the time, and especially now.
The donation drive will be held from 6 to 8 p.m. at their location in Milford.
More than 3,000 people have now been confirmed killed in Myanmar after a powerful 7.7 earthquake rocked that country last Friday. Experts have warned that the true death toll is likely going to be higher as hundreds remain missing, and hopes of people finding them alive is dwindling 6 days after the quake first struck. Around 500 buildings have totally collapsed. 800 more were partially destroyed. Buildings in capital Bangkok, they were damaged, and ones that were under construction, there was a high-rise that collapsed, trapping dozens. Of the deaths in Thailand, at least 15 people were killed following the building's collapse, according to Bangkok's emergency center.
We are now taking a live look outside at Washington, D.C., and this morning investors and American consumers are bracing for the fallout from President Trump's new taxes on imported goods. The scope of those long-promised Trump tariffs surprised economists and investors around the world. Overnight, stocks fell in Asia, and here at home, Dow futures dropped more than 800 points.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us some new tariffs have already kicked in, with foreign cars facing a 25% import tax starting today.
President Trump rolling out his long-anticipated reciprocal tariffs.
That means they do it to us and we do it to them.
Slapping trading partners across the globe with a new minimum 10% tariff, much higher for dozens of countries hit with half the tax on foreign goods that the White House says they charge on U.S. exports.
If you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America.
We asked small business owner Adam Fazakerly.
Is it that simple?
We would love to. I grew up in a military family. That was the first place we turned to. And then the realities are that some products are very difficult to make here and sustain a business. The design was
Fazakerly's playmat to makeup bag business Lay and Go manufactures in China hit with a total 54% tariff, and Cambodia now facing an additional 49% levy.
Cambodia, oh look at Cambodia.
That he expects to drive up costs on his next shipment by more than $50,000.
It is important to understand the way that this is affecting small business, and it's not positive.
The new tariffs add to a sweeping series already in place aimed at returning factories and jobs to America. But U.S. businesses will be forced to eat added costs and likely pass them on to American consumers on everything from cars to computers, clothes, and groceries. CNBC's Ron Insana breaking down the impact.
The average tariff is going to be about 25% and could cost the average family as much as $5,000 a year.
Democrats sounding the alarm as some of the top U.S. CEOs warn of potential harm, and the White House presses ahead. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, unexplained bee deaths, why beekeepers across the country say they are opening up and finding their colonies dead.
Also, lacrosse field battle. Cape Henlopen girls, they look to take down Sussex Academy and remain unbeaten on the season.
And after the break, smoky plane evacuation, why this American Airlines jet experienced unexpected maintenance issues. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
6:39, a very mild Thursday morning. It is cloudy, however, and breezy. Not going to see a lot of sun today. 65 in Laurel. Look at this, amazing. Low to mid 60s away from the coast. Even at the beaches, 63 in Rehoboth and Bethany Beach, 61. Winds are gusty, over 20 miles per hour in Salisbury and Millsboro, and over 30 at the beaches. So it will be a windy day. We've got lots of clouds, and that'll be the case really much of the day. The stormy weather is back to our west as a warm front is lifting to the north. That'll bring some summer-like warmth, and the stormy weather will be staying to our west and north as we go through the day. Here's your car wash forecast. I think you're actually in good shape today despite lots of clouds. Then I want fair conditions for the car wash Friday and Saturday because we will see showers every once in a while. Could mess up that beautiful car wash and wax job. Our Brother Giveaway winner today is Daryl Struve from Frankfort, Delaware. Congratulations to him from Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling and Coast TV.
Smoke forced the evacuation of an American Airlines regional jet on Tuesday. PSA Airlines, operator of the flight, said its plane experienced a maintenance issue after it landed in Augusta, Georgia, following a short flight from Charlotte. Passengers described a burning smell and said the cabin filled with light smoke. All passengers were safely evacuated on the runway and were taken to the airport terminal. And also on Wednesday, American Airlines said a different plane flying that same route also experienced a mechanical issue.
The men's Final Four kicks off this weekend. It's an all #1 seed affair as Auburn will take on Florida. Duke will face Houston. This year marks the first time all of the top seeds made the Final Four since 2008. More than 100,000 visitors are expected to be in San Antonio for the Final Four, and that's on top of the locals that are going to be engaging in all of the activities. Saturday's matchups feature Florida against Auburn, followed by Houston facing Duke.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good morning. Cape Henlopen girls lacrosse looking to stay undefeated while visiting Sussex Academy last night. Skipping all the way ahead to the second quarter of action. Decatur up 4-2, but not until Macy Stein-Waddell rips this ball into the 5-hole to make it a 1-score game. Up next, Vikings ball on this next play, trying to tie things up. Amara Fruckman gets a pass, but a whistle is blown. She's going to get a free possession shot. Ref gives the signal. Fruckman gets in front and finds the back of the net. We're tied at 2 apiece. Other side of the field now. That's Shelby Manlove with the rock. She draws some contact, and she's going to get a free position now. The whistle will blow on this one. She takes a big step and rips this one sidearm in for the goal. Sussex Academy back in the driver's seat, 5-4. Final minutes of the first half, Vikings possession. Marie Rishko surveying the field. She finds a cutting Haley Gamuscello, who puts it past the goalie. Vikings tie it up going into half. Third quarter, Vikings waste no time. That's Allie Deal keeping it herself, beating her defenders and finding the back of the net to put Cape back in front. But later on, Seahawks unable to respond. There's Deal again. Her shot seems to get saved, but a whistle was blown. Cape getting a huge free possession shot, and on that opportunity, Deal rips it towards the ground. She gets the 5-hole shot, and the Vikings are up by 2 scores. Vikings lead by a bunch now, but we got to show this incredible behind-the-back shot by the junior Claire Lopez, putting her team up by another. What a shot by Lopez. Cape Henlopen goes on to win 18-6. That'll do it for sports. Have a great day.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, 6:30, we have Sussex Tech at Cape Henlopen. That's in girls soccer. And then at 10:30, tune into the final score. Flipping over to the DSM Plus app, you get that Sussex Tech Cape game, plus these, 4 o'clock, boys lacrosse, Parkside at Cambridge, South Dorchester. Then there's also 2 girls soccer games with Laurel at Delmar, Indian River at Seaford. 6:15, back to boys lacrosse. That's when Worcester Prep faces Caravel Academy.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's a look at what's coming up today on Coast Life at 4.
Hope you're enjoying your Thursday so far. As we get closer and closer to the weekend, you're going to want to join us for Coast Life. Today at 4, here's what's coming up on the show. If you love bird watching, all of our spring visitors are going to be all across coastal Delmarva. We're going to talk to Jim Rapp about what you can do to spot them. We're also headed to Ocean City for Ocean Renaissance. So if you're a lord or lady or fae of any kind, you're going to want to join us for that as well. We've also got some hot tea to spill and to sip on. All that fun more is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to a mild day. Lots of clouds on the Tidal Health Cam and Salisbury dry roads into the mid-60s. It's going to be a summer-like day out there as we go through the day. Some places touching 80 inland. A bit cooler Friday into the weekend, and hit and miss showers every once in a while. Will not be a weekend washout. I'll have your forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
It is 6:46. We are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning. Bob, it's a mild morning. Not really seeing sun yet, though. See a lot of clouds. I don't know. Is rain? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I think it's just clouds and wind with the warmth today, Elisa. So not perfect, but hey, anytime we're talking 70s and 80s early April, we'll take it and look at this 24-hour temperature change. Yesterday morning, we were scraping frost in Salisbury interior parts of Delmarva. Now we're close to 30 degrees warmer than yesterday morning, 26 degrees warmer in Georgetown as we were in the 30s yesterday. And now we're in the 60s, 64 in Salisbury, 62 in Redden, Milton 64, a little cooler in Ocean City at 55, but we're in the 60s in Bethany Beach and Rehoboth, and those winds are cranking up too. We've got a warm front lifting through, so we've got a southerly breeze that's gusting close to 30 miles per hour. Indian River Inlet, 24 in Salisbury, gusting to 23 in Seaford, as we have a lot of those low clouds, so it is a little dreary out there, but nothing in the way of rain across Delmarva as this warm front is lifting to the north, and as it does, it will usher in that summer-like warmth from the south. It's also ahead of a cold front back to the west with a line of showers and storms, kind of nasty looking storms now that are moving out of Pennsylvania into West Virginia. But these will start to weaken as they move to the south and east. They could get into D.C. a little bit later on, but I think we're okay. I think we're going to be staying dry and warm throughout the day with those showers and storms stretching into the deep south around Memphis. That's where those storms are probably a little more severe, and they had really bad weather across the Midwest last night, and now they're looking at flooding conditions there. Here's Futurecast this morning. Lots of clouds and temperatures continue to climb through the 60s, a little cooler at the beaches with 50s and 60s and mid-70s by the noon hour. And then I think by mid-afternoon, some breaks in the overcast. 81 in Salisbury, 80 in Millsboro and Long Neck. Wow, really toasty out there, but cooler at the beaches. Maybe a little bit of drizzle there, but inland it stays mild through the overnight hours and even into your Friday morning. Mostly cloudy and temperatures in the 60s. There will be a boundary dropping to the south. Could see a morning shower or a thunderstorm. Otherwise, we're into the 70s tomorrow, so we'll be a little cooler as the winds turn off the ocean. And as we go into Saturday morning, if you have plans outdoors, do watch for showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms very early on. And then I think the rest of the day is dry. We see afternoon sun. We're warming into the 70s, 60s as well inland, a little cooler at the beaches. There is a marginal risk, a low chance of seeing severe weather tonight into early Friday across Delmarva. Maybe damaging winds with weakening storms, but that chance right now is looking low. I'm more concerned about these gusty winds, 35 to maybe 40 miles per hour. Make sure those outdoor items are secured. Still gusty into early Friday, and then an onshore wind later Friday does start to cool us off as we're looking at another front later Sunday into early Monday. That could bring some heavier rain, especially into Monday morning, and then much colder after that. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, 79 today, and then 71 Friday, mainly morning showers, similar conditions on Saturday, and then Sunday 79 with late day showers, some heavier rain into early Monday, 56. So it is going to cool down into the low to mid 50s Tuesday and Wednesday. And watch out Wednesday morning. Protect your plants as temperatures, I think, go below freezing at that time with a frost and freeze.
Thank you, Bob. Delmarva beekeepers are among those feeling the impact of the unexplained deaths of millions of bees across the country. Major bee distributors across the country say they're opening up their hives, like these ones in Worcester County, and seeing many dead. Bees play a major role in pollination of essential agriculture. Honeybees pollinate around 75% of fruit, nut, and vegetables in the United States. That's around $15 billion worth of crops. And an Eastern Shore expert tells us the economy will likely feel that impact.
We need about a third of our diet comes from fruits, nuts, and vegetables that bees pollinate. And so in my own operation this year, I lost about 50% of my hives here in Salisbury.
And this issue has been growing over the past few months, but as the bees get more active with the warmer weather, time will tell just how much these losses will ripple across the economy. And the time is now 6:51, so we're going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
I love this picture. Everyone check this out.
So cute.
On your screen. That is James. This sweet beagle loves to play and snuggle. James was sent to us by Kathy in Rehoboth Beach.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That's where you can scan the QR code at the top there. That way you can get your friends to Coast TV News. And you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
Looking a little gloomy on the Gutter Helmet cam right now, a little choppy on Indian River Bay with the breezes, but it's warm out there and it's going to be summer-like today with temperatures near 80 inland areas, and then cooling down a little bit Friday into the weekend with on and off rain chances. Not a washout, but heavier rain early Monday. I'll have your 10-day forecast coming up next.
It is 6:54 and it's time for the things you need to know before you go. Work is continuing by the Ocean City Council on its budget for next fiscal year. And this afternoon, several departments are scheduled to present their proposals. The Recreation Division is seeking an increase of over $150,000 for the current budget. It's over $158,000 for the Parks Division. In both cases, we are seeing two of the biggest jumps in expenses occurring with salary and benefits. Ocean City's new budget must be finalized by July 1st.
Food Bank of Delaware branch in Milford will organize a donation drive. It's taking place today. This comes during budget cuts to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. That's led to the delivery of 19 truckloads of food for the food bank being canceled. The amount comes out to be 900,000 meals. Food Bank is calling upon the community to donate and help those facing food insecurity. The donation drive will be held from 6 to 8 p.m. at their location in Milford.
Delmarva beekeepers are among those feeling the impact of the unexplained deaths of millions of bees across the country. Major bee distributors across the country say they are opening up their hives, like these ones in Worcester County, and seeing many dead. Bees play a major role in pollination of essential agriculture. Honeybees pollinate around 75% of fruits, nuts, and vegetables in the U.S. That's around $15 billion worth of crops. And an Eastern Shore expert tells us the economy will likely feel those impacts. And scientists have made a new discovery after sending a soybean mixture into space.
This is a little wild here. Take a look. After a 30-day process, the mixture turned into a paste known as miso.
And it's thought to be the first time food was successfully fermented in space. The expert was done aboard the International Space Station.
Researchers wanted to find out if it ended up tasting any different than a batch made on Earth. Lisa, they report that space miso had a more roasted, nuttier flavor.
I thought that was interesting. Bob didn't seem too impressed by the story.
Well, I mean,
it's the first time to say food was fermented in space. I don't know. It's interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
So when we go to space, I can say I could have.
When you go, you can try it. Exactly, Bob. There you go.
There's other treats for you too if you go to space.
Yeah, or I could say I'll try the space miso instead of the Earth miso.
There you go.
Do a taste test. How about that? All right, let's talk about the weather. Switching from food to the weather. It is going to be looking good out there today. Very mild and windy. Lots of clouds, gusty winds over 30 miles per hour at times. Secure those outdoor items. Upper 70s. I think if we see sun, we're going to be touching 80 inland areas. Cooler at the beaches, but officially I'm going 79. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Maybe a few showers and storms tomorrow morning, 71. And then hit and miss showers Saturday, 73, especially in the morning. And then evening and overnight showers and storms, I think, from Sunday into Monday as temperatures really dip into the 50s as we go into early next week.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today.
Have a great Thursday, everybody.